No, but this is different. It's all about creation of the world. Because there was this little kid. He was curious about humanity. So he wanted to know, how come there is humanity on earth? So first he goes to talk to his father. I said, Daddy, how come we have people? The daddy said, well, millions of years ago, there were the monkeys. And they started to change. And then they started to change a little bit, and then eventually they become people. And here we are. The kid wasn't convinced. So he goes talking to his mother. He said, Mom, how can we have people? I said, well, a few thousand years ago, God created Adam and Eve. So they have children, and then the children have more children. And here we are. And the kid's confused. I said, hold on a minute. I just asked Daddy, and he told me that we come from the monkeys. And now you're telling me that we come from Adam and Eve. I don't understand. And the mother said, that's easy. He was talking about his side of the family. I was talking about mine. So, I want to talk to you today about from zero to hero. And this is all about beginnings. This is all about new beginnings. And I know that sometimes we have great ideas and great projects, and we want to be there, and we want to be best, but we don't realize that things don't happen just like that. They take time. They take time. And if there is something that we can learn from, not just from life, but especially from the Torah, is to learn how to wait and to develop patience and to trust that eventually the right season will come. And as I mentioned before, this is all about new beginnings. Of course, this is a new beginning for Shari Zedek, but in the Jewish world, it's also a new beginning. And it's interesting because technically, the new beginning was Rosh Hashanah. But that was a few weeks ago when we have the new year. And then I was always wondering, why don't we start the Torah reading itself on Rosh Hashanah? Wouldn't that make more sense? When the world was created, let's read Bereishit, let's read the beginning of the Torah, and that's it. And that is the beginning. But no, first we have Rosh Hashanah, then we have Yom Kippur, then we have Sukkot, and then we have eventually Shmini Atzeret, which is also Simchat Torah, and then kind of we finish the Torah there, and we start a little bit of the beginning, and then eventually the next Shabbat, which is today, we finally read the first part of the Torah. So why we have this waiting time from the concept of the creation of the world to the moment when we actually read it? Well, and I believe the solution and the answer to this question is also coming from this week's Parsha. When we read right at the beginning that God had a great idea. The great idea was to create the world. And we read the Torah. It's very exciting. Bereishit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Wow! The ideal. Not so fast. Keep reading. And the haaretz hayta tohu baba'u ve'choshech al pnei tehom. And it was chaos and it was darkness over the earth. So yeah, sometimes we have the ideal, heaven and earth. But then reality hits, and it's not so easy. All of a sudden, it was chaos, confusion, and darkness, right? So what did God do? It's also very interesting. Immediately, God said, let it be light. Okay, first, don't despair. Don't get depressed. Don't get angry. Don't get bitter because the reality doesn't match your ideal. Wait for a minute. Let it be light. Analyze what's going on. And then God goes into the next steps of creation, which, by the way, took God 6 days to accomplish. And that is what we get to know as the 6 days of creation. Eventually, the seventh was Shabbat, and it's also that part that is part of the creation. But I was thinking, why will the Torah present the creation of the world in those terms? God is God. God can create the world like this. Let it be world. Poof! Everything is created. No. Day one, day 2, day 3, day 4. Not only that, after every day, God will say, and it was good, and it was good. Then the third day doesn't say anything, but then it was good. Why would this God's good? Because God is actually teaching us something. God is teaching us that whenever we have an ideal, chances are the reality won't match it. And then we have to work hard toward making that ideal a new reality. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. The Torah is almost saying, look, it took 6 days to God. What are you expecting to take to you? Are you expecting to have your ideal materializing overnight? No. Life doesn't work that way. You have to work hard, day after day, to create your new reality, day after day. And I was thinking that this is a reality for so many things in our lives. I even look at you right now. Yeah, we have the ideal of having this place packed with people. Whoa, hold on a minute. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. It takes planning. It takes logistics. That's why, for example, we started with Shabbat mornings, and then eventually we're going to move to daily Minyans. But we cannot do it just like that. We have to be responsible. That's why God is saying after every day, it was good. What does it mean it was good? It meant that God was comparing the creation to his plan. Okay, first day should be this. It happened. It was good. The fact that God is teaching us not just patience, but also responsibility is something that we should learn whenever we try to do something in our lives. And I think so many examples. I was talking the other day with my son. That he lives in Chile, and he's in medical school. He's been there for 5 years. He always wanted to be a doctor. Ideal. I want to be a doctor. Well, hello, welcome to reality. You have to go to university and wait a few years before you're ready to become a doctor. And that's what he's doing. But eventually, every time that he goes to university, he's a step closer to going from ideal to reality. And then when I was thinking about that, I asked my wife, how many years did you go to university? Because she always knew she wanted to be a scientist. But how many years did you go to university? 13. Well, but it took her 13 years to go from ideal to reality. But eventually, she is enjoying the reality she created thanks to her patience and responsibility. And I believe that we can all learn from this message from this week's Parsha. Because we all have ideals in life. We all want to make those ideals a reality as quick as possible. And that's okay. But it doesn't mean that we don't have to play our parts and we have to do it the proper way. The proper way is like God creation. We don't skip steps. God didn't go from day one from day 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should also do the same. But what happened is eventually you will see that every day your ideal gets closer and closer to your becoming a new reality. So let's get all inspired by this week's Parsha. Let's work hard on our ideals. And eventually, if we don't skip steps, we can go from 0 to hero in this new Torah cycle.